guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review of Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I'm going to start off being spoiler free, so if you haven't read this yet you're going to be fine, but then I am going to get into some spoilers at the end because I just couldn't talk about this book without talking about some things that happen. So yeah. If you don't know, this is kind of the sequel slash companion novel to Simon vs. the Homo sapiens Agenda, which is the book that the movie Love, Simon was based off of, and I really loved that book. That one's about a guy called Simon who is kind of in a bit of a mystery online relationship sort of with a guy from his school, but they don't know who each other are, and then he gets blackmailed, so he's scared that everyone's going to find out. This book follows one of his good friends called Leah, and Leah in this book is kind of just going through her senior year of high school, dealing with trying to think about what college she's going to go to, and dealing with kind of some dramas with her friends, and dealing with her romantic life as well. Leah is bi, but the only person she's ever told is her mum. So this book was super fun and super addictive. It was definitely one of those books where you're like, just one more chapter, I'll just read one more, but then you get to the end of a chapter and you just want to find out what happens next, so you have to keep going. It was so addictive in that way. I love Becky Albertalli's writing style. It's super fun and lighthearted, and I really loved seeing Simon again, seeing what he's up to, all of his cuteness and what's going on with some of the other friends as well. I just loved being kind of back in the Simon universe. However, I really didn't like Leah, and I was kind of expecting not to because I wasn't a huge fan of hers in the Simon book. I was hoping that it would change as well by the end of the book. I was hoping I would kind of grow to like her and she'd go through some character development, but I really feel like that didn't happen. So I want to tell you a few of the things that I did like about Leah. First of all, so the first one is that she describes herself as a Slytherin Rory Gilmore, which just, I love Harry Potter, I love Gilmore Girls, so to describe yourself as a Slytherin Rory Gilmore like instantly gets you points from me, and I can kind of see why she would say that as well. I think that's a pretty accurate description of who she is as a person. The second thing I liked about her in this book was it sounds like she has really cool style. Even though she's a little bit unsure of herself at times, she sounds like she has a very sort of distinctive, unique sense of style, and it comes through in the book, and I found that interesting. Another thing, the final thing that I liked about her was that she spoke out against racism at one point, and she was very strong on that and didn't just give in or brush it over to make things less awkward. She was like, no, this is wrong, and she called it out, and I really admired that about her. But now I want to also tell you the thing that I didn't like about her. A big one was that she's super cynical, and not in like a funny, witty, sarcastic kind of way. She's just super bitter about the world, and really negative. She's just a really negative person, and I don't like that. Leah's just always so sulky and negative, and it drove me crazy. The biggest thing about Leah though that annoyed me was that she never tells anyone how she really feels about anything. To me, that's such an irritating thing to have in a book, especially a YA contemporary, is when people just don't talk about their feelings, and it causes so much unnecessary drama that wouldn't be a thing if they just told people how they really felt. In regards to all those things like being super cynical and bitter and being, you know, unable to communicate her feelings to people, I don't think that changes much. I don't feel like Leah goes through much character development, which was what I was hoping for. So yeah, all in all though, this was a super fun book. So aside from not liking Leah as a character, which I could handle because the book was super fun anyway, I really liked the plot and everything. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars, so I still recommend it if you liked Simon vs. the Homo sapiens Agenda. I think you will like this book. There is also, by the way, at the end of this book, there's a sneak peek for Becky Albertalli's new book that's coming out. She co-wrote it with Adam Silvera. It's called What If It's Us, and it comes out in October, and that sneak peek of that book in here was so good. It was like the cutest thing that I've ever read in my entire life, so I can't wait for that book now as well. That's it for my non-spoiler feelings on this book. If you want to stay and listen to some spoilery feelings, feel free to do so. But if not, thank you for watching this. See ya. Getting into spoilers. The first thing that I want to talk about is how Leah reacted when Abby kind of came out to her. I really was like put off by Leah's reaction. She just seemed so close-minded, and like just because she's secure within her own sexuality and she's very like sure about it, the fact that Abby kind of like shares this thing with her and Leah kind of just has this attitude of like, it's not complicated, what's your problem? And I think Abby said it perfectly in that scene. I did appreciate the fact that Abby said this, because I feel like it was balancing, showing like Leah's attitude wasn't necessarily the correct attitude when Abby says something along the lines of, she's like, you don't get to decide my label. So yeah, I'm glad that Abby had that line, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Another thing that bothered me was the fact that Leah leads Garrett on for the entire book. It drove me crazy, because Garrett is sweet. He seems so lovely, and he's kind of like trying so hard, but not in an annoying or inappropriate way. He's just really nice, and you can tell that he really likes Leah and he cares about her, and Leah just leads him on. She was his prom date. He asked her to prom, or she asked him, whatever, and then she went and kissed someone else during the prom. Like, no, I'm not okay with that kind of thing. I don't care that they weren't officially together, they hadn't like decided that they were boyfriend girlfriend, but I think if you are aware that someone has feelings for you and you're not turning them down and you're going as their date to certain events and things, I do think it is completely selfish and inappropriate to go kiss someone else just because that's the person you really like. Like, to me that's completely not okay, and it drove me crazy. And as much as like I was kind of rooting for her to end up with Abby, it definitely took away from some of the cuteness. Like, I don't think that's cute at all to go to prom with someone and end up kissing someone else. I just couldn't, like, even though it should have been a really cute sweet moment, I just was like, I'm not happy with this. And also what made it even worse was the fact that she never sees any consequences at all for doing that. None of her friends call her out about it. None of them. Although I do have to say, Simon's reaction when he finds out that Leah and Abby are together is like the cutest thing on the planet. I loved his reaction and just being so supportive of them. But I wish that someone, instead of just kind of brushing off Garrett like he'll be fine, I wish that someone had have called Leah out and said like, this isn't really the way you should have gone about doing this. You should have told Garrett ages ago that you just weren't interested. So yeah, that bothered me. And the fact that not only does no one call her out about it, she spends the whole book kind of feeling guilty about it, which is good, I guess, because she should, but she never does anything about it. She just kind of has these moments where she's like, oh, I feel really bad, but she doesn't say anything to Garrett. She doesn't say like, look, this is what the situation is. Yeah. And then to make it even worse, like after the whole prom thing, it just ends. Like after she gets together with Abby and she's walking back into prom like holding hands with Abby, we don't see Garrett's reaction. We don't see Leah having to deal with those consequences of like stamping on someone's heart. You don't see any of that, and then it's just brushed off in an email to Simon at the end of the book like, oh, Garrett's with Morgan now. Like, no. So everyone just magically gets a happy fairy tale ending, even though you were being super, you know, nasty and just selfish. But in saying all that stuff about the prom scene, I really did like Leah's prom. I liked her whole thing of like the dress and how she goes to like Walmart or whatever with her mum's boyfriend, is it Wells? I liked that whole scene. I thought that was really cool. And then the fact that Leah's like saying to her mum like, the perfect prom doesn't exist, like the choreographed dance, the like gazing longingly across the dance floor, and then the big kiss at the end, and then she was making fun of all of those things, and then literally all of those things happened during her prom. I found that super cute and super entertaining, so I really liked the whole prom thing. I think it was really nice, aside from Leah being a jerk. So anyway, that's it for the spoilery things that I wanted to discuss. But if you've read this book, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below. Would love to discuss it with you. Oh, one last thing. Do you reckon there might be a spin-off, like another one about Nick? Because I feel like Nick's story was really unresolved. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you with another video in a couple of days. Bye.